This is the beginning of the story of Wyatt Earp, the greatest of the old fighting peace officers, a real Western hero. So great was his character and so complete his skill at living with danger that he became a legend in his own lifetime. In the hard world of the Western frontier, with all its bad men and outlaws, Wyatt Earp became the peacemaker. As a marshal, he went up against the worst of them, and the stories they tell about him are doubly fabulous because they're true. This is Ellsworth, Kansas, 1873. Don't let the peacefulness deceive you. It was about as ornery a little town as you'd find outside of Dodge City. It was run by the Thompsons, a notorious gang of frontier gamblers and killers. Most of the decent people had pulled stake, and the ones who remained were afraid. When Wyatt Earp first rode into Ellsworth, he was fresh from hunting buffalo on the Great Plains. He was just a peaceful young man looking for a place to wash up.
Not too much now. It's good, huh? You got enough?
No betting, Dan. No betting, Dan. And remember, stranger, anybody that deals a game in Ellsworth cuts with the Thompsons.
Oh, boy.
Why don't you do something, mister? You've got guns. Stop them. Do something.
Not my fight. But you're welcome to use my guns.
Don't say it. I know what you're thinking.
I'm gonna say it. What are you gonna do about this, Whitney?
Nothing. Real cowboys I can handle, but not this kind. I'm too old. That's why I sent for young Earp.
Young, you say?
Well, he ought to be 24, 25 by this time.
A real trigger-happy gunfighter, huh?
No, he's not a gunfighter. I've known him most of his life, and I've known his folks, too. I'm not even sure he'll take the job. But if he would, it'll make this a better town to live in.
What makes you sure he can handle this crowd?
He rode shotgun for Wells Fargo out in California. Never lost a dime or a passenger. And when it comes to pulling down a buffalo...
I think we ought to leave things alone. I do business with these men. Good business. So do you.
If I have to run a newspaper with their patronage, I'll close up. Well, I hope this Earp comes soon, Whitney.
My name's Wyatt Earp. I'm looking for Sheriff Whitney.
Ain't here.
Hey, Mr. Earp!
Well, if it isn't Mr. Masterson. What's the matter? Don't you like the beds in the hotel?
You joshing? The judge gave me 10 days or $50. And I didn't even have 50 cents after
After what?
I lost my money in a poker game. You just can't beat a crooked game, Mr. Earp.
You got any objection to my paying Mr. Masterson's fine?
Mr. Masterson, why, that young rascal, he isn't
I
worth
said
it.
I'd like to pay his fine.
It's your money, mister.
Much obliged, Mr. Earp.
Don't mention it, Mr. Masterson.
Well, what are you doing in Ellsworth, Mr. Earp?
Well, I'm not right sure. Mr. Whitney sent word he wanted to see me.
It's Sheriff Whitney now.
That's what I hear. Who talked him into that?
Mayor Miller and the church people across the tracks. Somebody had to take it.
Mr. Whitney's a mite elderly for the job. From what I hear, this is a right bad town.
Bad? If you stay around here, you'll see the primest gunfights outside of Abilene. 4 men got killed last week, 3 the week before, in a poker game.
Well, speaking of poker, how much money did you lose?
$150 or thereabouts.
Professions?
Sure, but I'm no crybaby, Mr. Earp. Man's got to learn sometime.
Yeah, that's right. You think that game might still be running?
Guess so.
Where?
Shannon's bar.
Come on.
I thought you had to see Sheriff Whitney.
Oh, that can wait. You know, I got a great respect for poker. Honest poker, that is. You might say I'm real fond of it.
No, Mr. Earp. Cad Pierce and George Pashar run that game. They ride with the Thompsons. They're both mean and awful fast with their guns.
You want your money back, don't you?
How many, dealer? Give me 2.
3.
2.
The 2 on the right.
3 queens.
Well, that's enough for me.
What's the matter? Don't you want to stay to get even?
Some other time.
You stay out of this. Mind if I sit in?
Table stakes, mister. It'll cost you 100.
Ante up, gentlemen. Hold it.
You didn't deal me the top card?
You sure you want to say that, Sonny?
I'll put it a little plainer. I think you deal a crooked game. Same goes for you. Don't try it. Now get out. Both of you. Go on, both of you.
Boy, you sure drew royal flush, Mr. Earp. It's all yours.
All I want's my 100 and 150 they took from you. Losers in the game divide the rest. Help yourself, gents.
Why'd you let him off? Why didn't you kill him?
No point in that.
Huh?
Now, they stole your money and I got it back. You lost 150?
No, not quite that much.
How much?
$31, all I had. The rest was bragging.
Well, now, that took real courage to tell me that, Mr. Masterson. I'm proud you're my friend.
Yeah, but you should have killed him. They'll tell Ben Thompson and his brother Bill that you draw fast, but you don't shoot.
Well, when a man keeps on pulling his gun, you shoot. But if you get the drop on him and he quits, no.
Did you get that from the Bible or McGuffey's Reader?
I believe it's mentioned in both. You better check these at the hotel for me.
You better keep them on, Mr. Earp.
I'm not looking for trouble.
Yes, sir.
Wyatt, my boy.
Mr. Whitney, I started right off to find you, but I kind of got sidetracked.
Yes, I know. Say, sit down and rest yourself a mite, will you? I got a lot to talk to you about.
It won't take too much persuading to sell me some cattle.
Cattle? No, that isn't what I had in my mind. Wyatt, I sent for you to take my job.
What? You sure do make it awful tough, Mr. Whitney. I owe you for a lot of favors. I just don't see me wearing a star.
Well, is that so outlandish? I knew your folks back in Illinois. A lot of lawyers in the Earp family. Your father was a judge.
That's right. But the Earps have done their share for the law. Anyway, the law out here means trouble. You get enough of that without going looking for it.
Well, if that's the way you really feel about it.
Yes, sir, it is. Sure don't like to turn you down, but all I want to do now is buy myself a little cattle spread and sit back and watch the steers grow fat.
Sounds good. But let me ask you something. Why did you go up against 2 of the best gunslingers in the Thompson outfit?
Because they cheated bad?
I don't think that was the real reason.
No? What then?
A sense of rightness that was born in you. Some men have it, some don't.
Oh, look, Mr. Whitney, I'm sorry, but I just don't want the job.
I can't say as I really blame you. One man hasn't much chance to civilize a hoodlum cow town. But if you won't do me the big favor, will you do me a little one?
Yes, sir.
Get out of Ellsworth real fast. After that gunplay you made... Uh-oh. Ben and Bill Thompson.
Is that the great Wyatt Earp, Whitney?
Now, don't get nervous, Ben. He isn't wearing his guns. Better check yours at the hotel, too.
Is this the fool kid you're trying to make, Sheriff? What are you trying to do, pull a joke on us, Whitney?
Joke's on me, Bill. He won't take my job.
Go ahead, take it, Sonny. Run us out of town with your bare hands.
I'm not looking to cause any trouble for Mr. Whitney. I'll let him run me out of town.
That satisfy you?
Yeah.
Don't satisfy me. You don't make small of us with your jokes.
You better cool off, Bill. You're drunk. Give me the gun.
Sure, I'll give it to you. I've been wanting to give it to you for a long time, you meddling old fool. You drunken fool! At least I got me a sheriff. Come on, get out of town. I'll cover for you.
Get him in the stores.
Now he wasn't partial to being a marshal, but fate went and dealt him his hand. While outlaws were looting and killing and shooting, he knew that he must take a stand. Oh, Wyatt Earp, long may his story be told.
Stay out of sight, Miller. We got this town treed.
He says he's going out there and arrest Ben Thompson, if he can find 2 guns that suit him.
Are you Wyatt Earp? Yes. I'm Vic Miller, mayor. Sheriff Whitney was my best friend. He was mine, too. Did you come here without guns? No, sir. I checked them at the hotel. The Sears arrested on most of these.
I just heard about it.
Why the back door, Mr. Crawford?
Look, I need help, Mr. Mayor.
You could have shot Bill Thompson from behind a fence. You let him get away.
The thing to do is form a posse. Ben Thompson's the fastest hand with a Colt and...
Oh, let's see your gun. Give it to Mr. Earp. Now, the dog's filed off. When I know I can just let the hammer go, I tend to shoot too quick.
Maybe you ain't aiming to shoot at all.
I guess I'll have to use these.
I brought your guns, Mr. Earp.
You hurt?
Felt like I stopped a couple, but guess I didn't. I'm okay.
Needlessly reckless, Mr. Masterson. You could have come in by the alley like Marshal Crawford.
1 minute, Ben said, and he'll shoot up my store. If Earp fires just 1 shot, they'll burn the town.
It might be a good thing. Here, you better wear this. I won't need it. I think Mr. Whitney would have liked you to.
Hey, Miller! The great Wyatt Earp's got his guns now, so send him out here.
Don't walk into that shotgun, Mr. Earp. Shoot quick.
If he ain't out here in a minute, I'm coming in and get it. Did you hear that, Earp?
He didn't run.
He's fast, Ben. Get him now.
Ain't you kind of foolhardy, son, letting Miller pin a star on you and send you out here? You guys stay out of this, all of you. You've come far enough, Earp. What do you expect me to do?
Throw your shotgun on the road, put up your hands, and tell your friends to stay out of this play.
Stop and let me talk to you. What are you going to do with me?
Kill you or take you to jail.
The minute I give this gun up, someone will cut loose at me.
If they do, I'll give you back your gun and we'll shoot it out with them. As long as you're my prisoner, the man who gets you's got to get me.
You going after my brother?
I don't waste my time. Now throw down your gun. I'll make you fight. All right, the rest of you men move back. Go on, move. Come on, Ben. We'll go over to the Cowboys.
I think I could have gotten you.
Now, that isn't what you were thinking.
No?
No, you figured I might get you.
You had, my men would have shot you down.
Yeah, but you'd be dead. Then who'd look after your brother, Bill?
What are you, a mind reader?
Nope. But I got brothers, too. I can understand how you'd try and save them from the rope if you could.
Well, I'll be.
I agree with the judge.
Well, I don't agree with you, Judge, and I want to...
Quiet, both of you. I'll handle this in my own way. Well, Ben, what's the charge this time?
I guess we better let the new man speak his piece. He's the one that arrested me.
All right, son.
His brother, Bill, killed Sheriff Whitney. Ben helped him get away. That makes him accessory to the murder.
Bill did this, not Ben. Why didn't you organize a posse and go after Bill?
That'd be kind of stupid, sir.
Oh, it would.
Yes, sir. You just put Ben in jail where he belongs, and Bill's bound to come back and try to spring him. When he does, I'll arrest him, and you can hang him.
Oh, now I ask you, Judge. Is that legal?
No, it'll lower the dignity of this court.
Your dignity. Mr. Earp arrested Thompson at the risk of his life.
Order. I know how you feel, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Beebe, what do you say about this?
Well, I think Ben ought to be fined for disturbing the peace, and that's all.
Well, Ben, you agree to take your crowd out of town right away?
Sure do.
All right. $25 fine, $3 costs.
Do I get my guns back, Judge?
Yeah. Sheriff, what's your name? Return Mr. Thompson's guns to him. Court's adjourned.
Well, I didn't know you were in cahoots with the judge.
Don't put him on till you get out of town.
Of course not. Promised the judge, didn't I? Come on, we're riding.
Just a cheap hunk of tin. Mr. Whitney didn't die for much, did he?
I know how you feel, but I sure wish you'd give us another chance.
No, thanks.
Mr. Earp, we're going to get a new judge at the next election and some good officers to help keep order.
My job's hunting buffalo. I don't get quite $25 a head for them, but then again, I don't have to bury them. Good day, gentlemen.
I'll learn you not to call Ben Thompson Yeller.
I can handle him, Mr. Earp.
Get up again and I'll hurt you.
You're under arrest.
Who is it?
Marshal Crawford.
Thought you were still hiding.
You won't be so brave when Judge Osborne gets through with you. And then this fellow Earp knocked Pete Logan unconscious with the barrel of a .45.
That's a lie. He did it with his fist.
Order. That means you keep your mouth shut. Well, Mr. Earp, who's stupid now?
You are, sir.
That's just what I wanted to hear. I fine you $50 for felonious assault. And I sentence you to 30 days in jail for contempt of this court.
That's the law for you. Mr. Earp ran your friends out of town single-handed, so you gotta...
Shut up! You get 15 days in jail.
For what?
Vagrancy. Lock him up.
So they call this justice. He started bragging that Ben Thompson had left several gunslingers in town to take care of you. So I asked him why Ben didn't stay himself. Now, is that vagrancy, Mr. Earp?
Nope.
Well, just what is vagrancy?
Well, if you're playing poker and you win, you're a sporting man. But if you lose, you're a vagrant.
So you're in jail for being honest, and I'm here for being poor. Now, what kind of law is that?
Just the Ellsworth brand. Oh, but it could have been a lot worse.
How?
Well, they could have caught you drawn to an inside straight.
What is it now, Miller? I'm in a hurry.
Just a little story I'm telegraphing to the Capitol. The governor might like it for his paper. I thought you might like to look it over.
No law west of Newton. No God west of Dodge. Well, that means Ellsworth. Are you aiming to get me in trouble with the governor? I don't think you've got the nerve.
Until today, I don't think I did have.
Shyster Judge. The law on Ellsworth is a farce. Well, that's libelous.
No, that's blackmail.
Well, what is it you want?
Wyatt Earp and young Masterson. What's wrong, Mr. Earp?
Marshal Crawford and the judge sure left in an awful hurry by the back door.
I was scared of you.
The judge and the Thompson brothers can't afford to have us run it over. Logan told Bat here that there was somebody gunning for me. And here it comes. Get away from me, both of you. Go on.
You in a hurry to leave town, Mr. Earp?
Nope.
Ben says we've had enough of you. So does Judge Osborne.
What do you think?
Get out. I want you to drink up.
Get Ben to teach you to shoot with both hands. Come on, Bat, help me pick him up.
Yes, sir.
I guess I better wear that star before the judge can throw me in jail for disturbing the peace.
Primest gunfight I ever saw. Thompson caught his gun sight in the holster. Pierce heard his aim and got off a wild shot. But what happened to Bashar?
Well, he was left-handed. Go on, man, take him to jail.
Much as I hate losing good customers, Mr. Earp, it'll be a pleasure having you around.
Can you imagine that? The odds were 3-1 against you, Mr. Earp.
Well, let's forget about gunfighting odds, Mr. Masterson. But I've noticed that you give very little thought to the odds in poker. Now, do you realize that the odds against your drawing a straight flush are 65,000 to 1? And in drawing to one pair, the odds against your improving that hand are 360 to 1. Oh, it's a risky business, poker.
For Wyatt Earp, now that he was marshal of the cattle-loading town of Ellsworth, Kansas, was the Thompson brothers. They were gun-slinging terrors of the frontier, and Brother Bill was wanted for the murder of a sheriff. Unless Wyatt Earp could rid Ellsworth of these killers, and alone, he faced complete loss of influence as a marshal.
Morning, Wyatt.
Good morning, Judge. Mr. Masterson. What's the matter? You look a little worried.
He sure is, Mr. Earp. A lot of Sheriff Whitney's friends want to organize a posse.
I don't want a posse.
They figure the Thompsons have had time to join their gang. They figure if you're going after them, you'll need help.
I don't like posses, Ed.
You can't go up against the Thompson outfit all by yourself, Mr. Earp.
A posse only raises dust. They're only as fast as the slowest horse. I don't think Bill and Ben will want to join up with their gang. My hunch is that they're hiding out in the Bushwhacker section.
Bushwhacker? You mean where the Indians used to hide for ambush?
That's right.
How you ever going to find the Thompsons in there?
I think you might have something there, Wyatt. I can explain your theory to the men who sign up for posse work. Ought to satisfy them for a day or so.
Well, thanks, Ed. Well, do me another favor, will you?
Sure.
Well, I'm expecting 2 Indian friends of mine. They're about the best trackers I've ever met. And I'd like for you, as the judge and mayor, to meet them.
Indians?
That's right. Mr. Brother of the war chief Many Battles, and his partner, Mr. Cousin of the chief Yellowhand. Oh, and be sure to call him Mr. Brother and Mr. Cousins.
All right. What else do I do? Give them the key to the city?
No, yeah, just decent respect will be enough.
Sure, Wyatt. As soon as they hit town, I'll do the honors.
Thanks.
But Bat will tell you there's a lot of mean talk. It adds up to the feeling that you'd better arrest Bill Thompson quick, or a posse will do it for you.
I don't want a posse yet. I'll arrest Thompson myself.
I hope you do.
Aren't you putting too much faith in those Indians?
No, they're good men. So you and the judge think I ought to turn my job over to a posse before they take it away from me, huh?
Well, what if the Indians do find Ben and Bill? You can't go into that place all alone, Mr. Earp. You better take me with you.
You still want to be a marshal someday?
Yes, sir.
Well, then you better start learning what the job means. It's lonesome work, Mr. Masterson. You can't let a bunch of hot-headed citizens tell you what to do. You use your own head, get into your own brand of trouble, and think your own way out of it when you can. But always be ready to shoot your way out. But you go it alone.
And the bushwhacker?
Well, now, that's just a section of country full of rocks and brush.
Good old bushwhacker. One of the nicest hideouts we ever found, huh, Bill?
We should have brought the boys with us.
Nah. Why don't you drink some water for a change?
Now, if Earp comes in here after us, you're gonna wish we had more guns.
Earp ain't gonna come in here. Even if he guesses which direction we headed, he ain't gonna come in here. He's got more sense. And what if he did?
Hey, you hear anything?
If you stopped drinking that whiskey, you wouldn't hear so many things.
Lehaya.
Lehaya.
Lehaya. Mr. Brother, Mr. Cousins, shut the door. Come in. Mr. Brother, you sit there. Mr. Cousins, you take that chair.
Giovannini, Mercan.
Mr. Brother, crack joke?
He says, Mr. Earp, first time we treated like American.
You tell him it's a good joke. But it's a little sad, too. As I mentioned before, it's a good bet that the Thompsons are holed up in Bushwhacker. You and Mr. Brother know this country.
Bushwhacker? Yes. Good ambush. Got many good scalp there. Nagaling Bacaldo, Ihiaje, Bushwhacker.
Long knife, Waitgen, Bikakachihi.
He says he guides soldiers to White Cap, Johnny Rep Camp one time.
Bueno, long knife, Mogdagus.
He says soldier loose fight.
I heard about that. I'll explain about these in a moment. Now, I want you to find Ben and Bill Thompson for me. I want you to move like dead men's ghosts. And I want you to be heard or seen. And you'll be very careful not to get hurt. The Thompsons are killers. They're very quick with their guns. Now, as to these loops of rope, I want you to take these with you.
You men wait here. I'll go talk to Marshal Earp.
Earp's just stalling, Ed. We want Bill Thompson. And a posse can bring him in.
There's a delegation outside.
I know, I see him.
They don't trust those Indian friends of yours. They want a posse, and they're pretty bad-tempered about it.
How's your temper, Ed?
Well, I think you're being unreasonable about this. It's no good just to say that you don't like posses and want to handle the whole thing by yourself. They knew Sheriff Whitney. They were fond of him.
I was fond of him, too. And I want Bill Thompson for his murder just as bad as they do.
I know that, Wyatt, but you're being high-handed and arbitrary.
This is my business, Ed, and you hired me to run it.
Well, at least go out there and explain your position.
All right.
Well, Judge Miller tells me you gentlemen want to go after Bill Thompson.
We can't trust a couple of Indians. We want real action, Herb.
All right, Mr. Davitt. Then you can lead the posse. But before I deputize you, I think it's only fair to tell you what you'll be up against. Now, my Indian friends have already sent word that Ben and Bill Thompson was spotted yesterday going into the bushwhackers section.
Just the two of them, Wyatt?
That's right. But I want to remind you, men, that Ben Thompson is one of the best hands with a gun I know of. He's already killed 18 men in gunfights. Now, his brother Bill's not near as good, but he...
They don't scare us, Herb.
Well, they're enough to scare me. Now, have any of you men ever gone to that tangle of brush and rock before? Well, a whole Union outfit went in there a couple of years ago, as Judge Miller may recall. They were cut to pieces by a handful of Confederate soldiers. Now, how many men does your posse expect to lose, Mr. Davitt? Well, I give you an estimate. In my opinion, Ben and Bill Thompson shooting from ambush could kill about 10 of you.
But, Wyatt, if you lead the posse...
I won't do that. I don't believe in the idea, and I won't be responsible for good men being killed unnecessarily.
All right, you refuse to do your duty.
It's not my duty to lead inexperienced men like you into a massacre.
Well, we certainly got a long way with that, didn't we?
He could be right, you know.
He's lost his nerve. He's treating us like a passel of greenhorns.
Now, whoa here. I'm sure that Wyatt...
You'd stand up for Earp no matter what. Come on, man, we'll report back to the others at the meeting. Ellsworth may have a new marshal and a new mayor in about 3 days. Ben, wake up, Ben. Look it. It's Earp. He's found us.
Judge Miller wants you to come to the meeting right away. They're talking him down, Mr. Earp.
Oh?
It's nip and tuck. Sam Davitt's trying to get them to fire you and appoint him as leader of the posse if they're not found in 3 days. The judge says if you'd explain to the whole meeting what you're
I've
gonna...
explained it once. I'm not going to explain it again.
You don't care if they fire you?
Nothing much I can do about it, Mr. Masterson. I've said all I'm going to say.
Well, you can't just sit there and let things happen. They're calling you a coward. They say you owned up to being scared of the Thompsons.
Sit down, Mr. Masterson. You're seeing the worst of a peace officer's job. You sit still and wait. It's going to be dark before I hear from Mr. Brother and Mr. Cousin. In the meantime, I'm a coward, or I'm fired. At that town meeting, I'll just sit and talk.
It just isn't fair.
Well, what would you do? Lead a posse into an ambush? Let a couple of them get their head shot off?
Well, what else? What if the Indians do find Ben and Bill? It'll still take a posse to get them out. You can't go in there alone.
Yes, I can.
Well, here she is. Yeah. Yeah. Is that all you got to say? You give me more credit than that?
Well, you're the smart one of the family.
You'd be smart, too, if you didn't addle your brains with that whiskey. Took me a half a day to find this place. That means it'll take Earp 6 days, even if he knew it was here.
How about a swig of whiskey to celebrate?
Huh, Ben? That'll settle your nerves quicker than whiskey. I don't know why I string along with you.
All right, then. Go ahead and leave me.
I would. But you're my dear, crazy little brother. Now let's get inside.
Still got some cool oil left. Where are the matches?
In your pocket.
Find him, you're so bright about finding things.
It's the first time we've ridden in here since the war, huh, Bill? What's the matter with you?
Look, Ben, look. It's Herb. I'm getting out of here.
Wait a minute. Moccasin tracks. A couple of Indians. Herb must be hiring them.
But we can't stay here, Ben. They'll tell them just where we are.
That Herb. With all the sneaky, underhanded tricks. He's trying to work on me.
On you? That's for me. And I ain't staying here and being cornered by Herb and his posse.
Bill! Use what few brains you got left.
Yeah. Maybe I'd better. Yeah, maybe you'll turn me into Herb.
Turn you in? Look, haven't I always kept the law off your neck? You're my brother, and I'm stuck with you.
Just the same, I'm getting out of here.
Bill! Herb's not coming in here after us.
But why ain't he coming after us?
Because I know him. I know how he thinks. The rope trick is just to scare me into turning you in.
Scare you? That's me he aims to hang.
And that wouldn't make any difference to me. Had to kill a lot of men getting you out of trouble. Besides, what would Mom think if I... That's enough. Oh, for gosh sakes, Bill. What's the matter now?
I've been having a bad dream. I saw Mom.
Why don't you go back to sleep?
No, Ben. Honest, I saw her. She came to warn me. I ain't lying. It ain't the whiskey. Mom don't trust Wyatt Earp. She told me he'll make a fool out of you if you trust him. And he'll put me on the gallows.
How did Mom look in the dream?
Just like in her coffin. She was wearing the white silk dress that you bought her just after we held up the Abilene stage. Please, Ben, I can't stand here no more. Let's go hide in the old still.
All right, we'll go.
Start now?
Yeah, get here. Give me that.
Bad news, Wyatt. The time is up.
The posse forms in the morning, Mr. Earp.
If you won't lead them, I'm ordered to. Won't you reconsider? No. I know what they're doing, and they don't. Thanks for standing by me, Ed. I'm very sorry, Wyatt. This town's losing a good marshal.
Hey, it's Mr. Cousin.
Let him in. Oh, Mr. Cousin, it's good to see you alive. Where's Mr. Brother?
He stay near Still, Mr. Earp. Thompson's moving to Still after dark.
Which Still?
I make picture. Moon here. River here. Whitecap north. Still here. Johnny Reb make whiskey in it.
Yeah, Buzzard's Roost. The old Ku Klux Klan hangout. Good work, Mr. Cousins. Mr. Masterson, see that he gets a fresh horse and a good one.
Yes, sir, but what are you going to do?
Just get the horse. Thank you, Mr. Cousin. You can tell Mr. Brother that your debt to me is paid.
Thank you.
Those Indians must have owed you a lot.
No. I sent a telegram to the colonel at Fort Leavenworth vouching for them so they could sell the Army horses. It cost me $1.25.
You mean they tracked the Thompsons just for that?
No, Ed, I also call him Mister.
You're not going out now. It'll take over an hour to round up the posse. Yet I told you, no posse.
But the time is up.
I don't care whether it's up or not.
Wyatt, it's suicide to go in there alone.
Maybe.
Mr. Earp. Mr. Earp, please, let me go with you.
Not this time.
But if something happens, if you're hurt or...
Now, don't worry about that. I have friends who'll bring home the remains. But cheer up, Mr. Masterson. I don't think Ben Thompson will be any faster in the draw than usual.
Ben? What you got there?
Nothing.
That's Indian for the last message.
Well, let him come. I'll splatter him all over these hills.
Yeah, we'll both gun him.
I want him alone, the fair fight.
Oh, Ben, what's the sense in talking like that? We can pick him off with rifles.
Because he's mine, that's why. He's tormented me and hounded me like a wild dog. To me, he's trying to drive crazy. Well, he ain't gonna get away with it. I'm a better man than he ever was. So you stay out of it, you hear?
That's fine, Ben, fine.
But I can't trust you.
Ben, I swear. What's that?
Well, that could be him. So you get on your horse, ride down to the river, and wait for me there.
No, Ben,
I've got a good mind to put an end to this whole thing.
Don't, Ben. I'll go. I'll go.
Ben Thompson.
That you, Wyatt?
That's right. I want your brother.
Bill ain't here. You got a posse with you?
No. I came alone.
Well, that's just the way I want it. I'll be right out.
I don't want you. I want your brother.
You ain't gonna get either one of us.
Hold it! You're not very fast with your left, Ben. I don't want to have to kill you.
Bill got away.
Go sit on that rock. You get a cut artery. No sense in you bleeding to death.
I don't understand you, Wyatt.
Guess not.
You had a chance to kill me, and you didn't take it. Won't even let me bleed to death. Why?
I want Bill.
To hang him?
Law doesn't hang a crazy man.
People down in Ellsworth don't know that.
They're not the law. If you had any sense, you'd bring Bill in yourself. Sooner or later, he's bound to be killed. Maybe you'll go down with him.
Maybe I won't.
Well, then he'll turn hopelessly insane. A babbling lunatic on your hands.
Nah, he wouldn't do that.
Well, that's the deal I offer you, Ben. You bring Bill into Ellsworth, and I promise he'll be treated fairly.
I don't take your promise. Wyatt. All right. All right, you've made yourself a deal. I'll bring him in.
See you at the jail, Ben.
Wyatt, you didn't find the Thompsons?
Yeah, I found them.
Well, what happened?
Did you... No, I didn't have to. Ben's bringing Bill in.
You took his word?
Yes, I did. Ben's never lied to me yet.
Well, maybe the posse will get him.
Now, Mr. Masterson, you still want to be a peace officer?
Well, yes, sir, but
But not a plain fool like me, huh?
I don't think you should have trusted Ben, Mr. Earp.
No? Well, take a look behind you.
You're right prompt, Ben.
Would have been here sooner, but he got a little violent about the deal. Now, Bill, you're sick in the head, and this is the best thing for you. I give the marshal my word, and he give me his.
Put him in a clean cell, Mike. Make him real comfortable.
So long, Wyatt.
So long, Ben.
You were right all the time, Mr. Earp.
Sure. I could have been just as right and got killed. Or just as right and got fired. Yes, Mr. Masterson. I'm now a great marshal again. Well, that's the end of school for today.
Wyatt Earp has moved to Wichita after a locally renowned career as Marshal of Ellsworth, Kansas. Wichita was the new capital of the cow towns, where the great cattle drives from Texas reached the railroad. Hoodlums boasted there was no law in Wichita. The year 1875 saw Wyatt Earp become marshal of that turbulent city, fighting frontier gunslingers with his fists, his .45 Colts, and his sawed-off shotgun.
Wichita. There she stands, Wyatt. This is Douglas Avenue, our local Broadway.
It sure makes Ellsworth look like a stage stop.
You're in the big city, Mr. Earp. Texas House, the Wichita Eagle, fine newspaper. Mine. This is Main Street. Palace Saloon. Down there's the Oriental Saloon. Next one is Rowdy Cates' establishment. There's the Wichita House. Way down at the end on the other side of the street's the Occidental. Douglas Avenue House, Payer's Saloon. That next street down is Horse Thief Corner.
Murdoch! Mr. Murdoch! The vigilantes are aiming at Hank Slick Lonigan. They say he murdered Hank Mahoney last night.
Where's Judge Jewett?
In Kansas City on business. There'll be a lynching if you don't stop them.
They'll be stopped. Where are they?
Over at the jail.
Looks like we better head that way, huh?
Welcome to our fair city.
Here comes Marsh now. Lucky you got here, Marsh.
Hello, Bennett. What's the trouble?
Sheriff Todd won't turn Lonigan over. The fool says he'll make a fight of it.
I'll have a talk with him. Marshal Earp, this is Dave Bennett, the president of our Citizens Committee for Law and Order.
You mean vigilantes. Glad to know you, Mr. Bennett. So you're the great Wyatt Earp.
Gentlemen, this is the new peace officer Marsh hired to replace Wild Bill Hickok.
Well, I should save the handshaking for later. Come along, Wyatt. Sheriff Todd?
Yeah?
Marsh Murdoch. Open up.
Thank the Lord, Marsh. This up?
That's right.
The rest of you stand back. It's providential, Earp. Simply providential. I'm no hand with guns. My job is strictly collecting taxes. I hope you can take over this affair right away. I'll swear him in. That'll make it legal till the judge gets back, huh?
All right, but calm down. You alone here?
Yeah.
What happened to the deputy marshals?
They all skipped. They're afraid of the Citizens Committee.
Slip Lonergan's a faro dealer at Rowdy Cates. Who's the man he murdered?
Hank Mahoney. I didn't know him.
I do, unless there are two Hank Mahoneys. The one I know is a killer.
Hank Mahoney wasn't armed. Dave Bennett says.
I'd like to talk to Lonergan. Okay?
Of course. Bring him in here, will you, Sheriff?
All right. Lonergan's your responsibility. You handle the CCs.
Better put this on, Wyatt.
Wait a minute. You didn't tell me there were vigilantes here?
We had to let them organize. Cowhands threatened to tear the town apart.
I don't work with vigilantes, Mr. Murdoch.
Neither do I. And I should have told you that the CCs are a special problem. But I was afraid you'd turn down the job.
Looks like I better do that now.
Now, hold on, Wyatt.
I don't like vigilantes. They shoot and hang a man first and then ask questions. Now, you hired me to enforce the law. Well, lynching a man isn't the law, Mr. Murdoch.
I agree with you. Judge Jewett, Mayor Hope, and I want to force the vigilantes to disband. We're convinced that some of them are mixed up with the crooked gambling and rustling.
That's a good bet.
But we have to have proof, Wyatt. It has to stand up in court.
Will you back me up if I start rousting that crowd out there?
All the way.
Here's Lonergan. What'll I tell the vigilantes?
Tell them Marshal Earp is working on the case.
Thanks. Rest yourself. A lot of men out there that want to hang you, Mr. Lonergan.
Oh, sure.
I understand you killed Hank Mahoney when he wasn't wearing any guns.
You the Wyatt Earp that ran it over Ben Thompson?
Yes, he is.
Hey, Murdoch, quit stalling and bring him out.
Hold it, Bennett. Just give us a couple of minutes.
That'd be Dave Bennett. Important man.
Was Hank wearing a gun?
Two of them.
Shot him in a fair fight, huh?
He yelled for me to come out in the alley. I came out, gave him both barrels.
Shotgun him?
Yeah.
Who took care of Mahoney then?
Well, Sheriff Todd says he helped carry him over to Doc Fabrique's office. Shot in the stomach. What could Doc do?
Well, then you claim that somebody must have taken the guns off the body.
How else could it have happened?
Why was Hank gunning for you?
I worked for Rowdy Kate. Maybe she can tell you. If you're going to turn me over to the vigilantes, at least give me a gun.
Mr. Lonergan, what makes you think I'd turn you over to that lynch mob?
Oh, they're not a mob. They're the Citizens Committee for Law and Order. They run this town, Mr. Earp.
They do?
No, they don't run this town. You're the Marshal of Wichita. Prisoner's in your hands.
Thank you, Mr. Murdoch.
Must be this lucky agate Katie gave me. All of a sudden, I draw two aces.
We'll take Mr. Lonergan back to his cell and then have a little talk with that committee.
All right, men. Now, this is what we're going to do. We run this town. You understand? And nobody's going to tell us what to do.
Gentlemen, there appears to be some doubt that Mahoney was unarmed when Lonergan shot him.
Well, that's ridiculous. We have 10 witnesses.
Break it up. What? I said break it up. You have no business here. Now, I know what you men call yourselves, but you're just a plain lynch mob to me.
Marsh, you're going to put up with this?
I hired Mr. Earp with the approval of Judge Jewett and Mayor Hope.
Not with my approval.
He doesn't need your approval. Your committee doesn't have any legal standing. Now, if Lonergan is guilty, he'll be punished according to the law. But in the meantime, Mr. Bennett, you and your friends are packing guns in violation of a city ordinance. I realize it hasn't been enforced lately, but that's the reason I'm not going to arrest you at this time.
Why, you...
Don't try it. Now, most of you are decent men. Yet you let a fool like this tell you what to do. Now, I don't think Mr. Lonergan is guilty, and I aim to prove it. But either way, you're not the judge and jury. Now, get moving.
Come on, Dave.
Seen the last.
Quit that! Go away!
It's Mildred, Miss Kate. It's the marshal, the new marshal.
Earp? What's he want? This hour of the morning.
He says it's about Slick, and he's real nice and gentlemanly, too, Miss Kate.
All right, tell him to come on up.
She says it's all right, Mr. Earp. Right up the stairs.
What an hour to wake anybody up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, do I look awful?
You look real fine, Miss Kate.
Oh, you always say those nice things, Mildred. Open the door. Well,
How do you do, Miss Kate? I'm sorry to bother you so early.
harm's already been done. Is Mr. Lonergan okay?
Well, for the time being, yes.
I hear you put a head on the Thompsons over at Ellsworth.
Well, I put Bill in jail.
Just like that, huh? Hey, Mildred, coffee on the double.
Yes, ma'am.
Sit down.
Thank you.
Mr. Earp, I want to be polite, but I can't afford to get mixed up in this.
Well, maybe you can answer a few questions, like, was Hank Mahoney packing guns last night?
Yes, 2 of them.
Will you testify to that?
If I did that, I'd leave Wichita in a coffin.
You afraid of the vigilantes, huh?
Scared to death. Have a drink, Mr. Earp?
Don't use it.
Some...
No, thanks.
Any vices at all?
Miss Kate, I came here to question you.
Can't talk about it. Not even to help Slick. And I'm real fond of him.
Are you in love with him?
No. He's a good faro dealer. He doesn't cheat the customers and he doesn't cheat the house. That's why he... Slick's been after me to marry him. Good faro dealers are so scarce, I've been considering it. Right there, Mildred. You do drink coffee.
Yes, but not now, thanks. You're going to lose, Mr. Lonergan.
What?
His only defense is for somebody to prove that Hank Mahoney was armed and gunning for him. If you leave things stand the way they are now, the law's going to hang him. Good day, Miss Kate.
Hold on. I know what happened last night and why. But I can't prove it.
Well, why don't you tell me about it? Maybe I can.
Keep me out of it?
Well, I can try to, but that's all I'm going to promise.
Oh, better try. You can get me run out of town or killed.
Who are you afraid of?
The gambling place across the street.
The palace?
Yes. They tried to hire Slick away from me. He wouldn't leave me, so they hired Mahoney to gun him.
Just because he wouldn't take the job?
No. Slick also talked too much about the men who secretly own that place.
Mr. Bennett, maybe.
Slick killed Mahoney in a fair fight. But somebody took Hank's guns and hit him before Doc Fabrique claimed the body. That's the truth. I can't prove it. I've said all I'm going to say.
Well, you talk at the trial?
No?
Well, thank you. You've helped considerable, Miss Kate. Do you want a bodyguard?
Not now. But you'd be my first choice.
Well, thank you. I'm going to go over and see Doc Fabrique now.
Don't mention my name, please.
Why, is he a friend of Bennett?
Oh, no. Doc hates everybody.
Well, thank you for your hospitality.
Just keep on with that stuff. You'll fall off your horse again. Bust your stitches loose and bleed to death on the road. I've been looking for a good cadaver to send to the St. Louis Medical School. That blather-lipped, snake-eyed, scrim-shank Mahoney fella got himself all messed up with buckshot in the abdomen. You do me a favor and bleed to death. Busy, sit down and wait. Too bad you fell on your head. You might have broken your arm.
Dr. Fabrique, I'm Wyatt Earp, the new city marshal.
I don't care who you are. I told you to sit down and wait. Lend me $1. 35 cents. Get out of here. I want to talk to you.
You better talk to me.
Huh? What's that?
You're the coroner around here, aren't you?
Well, yes.
You collect a fee for every death by violence, don't you?
Young man, if you mean
Where's
to
your autopsy and coroner's inquest report on Hank Mahoney?
Autopsy? You sure you haven't got some buttons loose?
Now, look, you're wasting both of our time. I want the report on Hank Mahoney. It just happens to be a murder case, you know.
Autopsy. Hank was killed with buckshot wounds in the abdomen. It was so obvious that only a young idiot like you would ask for an autopsy.
What about the coroner's inquest?
Oh, foolishness. Hank was killed at the hands of Slick Lanigan. I'll have the coroner's report on Hank ready in plenty of time for the trial.
No, Doctor. I'll be back in 10 minutes.
Get out of my office! 10 minutes. Autopsy. Next patient!
Hi, Mr. Murdoch.
Well, the town's starting to spin. I hear you fired 3 deputies and swore in 5 new men.
7. They're my friends from Buffalo hunting days.
Have you learned anything new?
Yeah. But doesn't fit to print. Did you get that telegram off to Judge Jewett?
Uh-huh. Got an answer. He'll be back tonight.
Well, that's good. I'm going to ask him for a court order disbanding the vigilantes.
Wonderful. But you'd better have some evidence. The judge hates him, but he still has to follow the letter of the law.
I know. I'm working on it. Well, I'm going to go down and see Doc Fabrique before he leaves his office. I'll see you at dinner.
Fine.
Oh, by the way, I wrote a story for your paper. It says that any honest citizen who knows what happened to Hank Mahoney's guns should come forward and tell.
New lead?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Wyatt.
Now, listen to what I'm going to read you, Doctor. It is specifically provided by the terms of this ordinance that the city marshal must certify to all fees collected by the coroner.
Let me see that.
Here.
The scoundrels. Those red-eyed pipsqueak politicians. If I'd known that, I wouldn't have taken the job.
It's too bad, Doc. The records show that since Mr. Hickok quit and I took over the job, the city owes you $137 in back fees. Do you want me to certify?
I earned it?
Sure, and you'll get it.
When? When will I get it?
Just as soon as you perform an autopsy on Hank Mahoney.
You're worse than Wild Bill Hickok. He was a smart skunk, but you're a crafty one. Okay. The body's in the back room.
Can I watch?
Suit yourself. And I hope you faint at the sight of it. Crack your stubborn head. Go ahead.
So you don't like your job as sheriff, huh?
You know what I mean. I don't like lynchings. I told you this morning when I wouldn't let you take Lonigan.
Shut up! You're in this just as deep as any of us. Lonigan knows too much, and Earp's been snooping around. We blundered once before in hiring a drunken fool to gun Slick. This time we're going to do our own job, with a rope, right?
I don't know, Dave.
All bets down, gentlemen? 5 of spades. 5 of spades? Oh, yes. No, nobody on 5 of spades. 7 of
Hold the
hearts?
game.
I thought I told you never
Keep
to
your
come in
temper,
my
woman.
place
Keep
again.
your temper. Now, Earp has enough evidence to clear Slick, if he wants to use it. But you know what that nasty fella told me? He says he'll let Lanigan swing if you don't tell him the truth about the vigilantes.
No.
Well, Earp can just let Dave Bennett take Slick. Just sit in the jail office tonight and do nothing. Now, if you like that fella, you blonde-headed nanny goat, you'll be there.
Oh.
All right, gentlemen. I'm taking over for Kate. Make your game.
Marshal Earp, the Citizens Committee's forming up the lumberyard. They'll be here in about 10 minutes.
Okay. All the deputies report?
Yes, sir.
Good. Be sure and tell them to load their shotguns with slugs. We'll make our play out in front.
Yes, sir.
Close the door and don't let anybody in.
Yes, sir.
Did you send Doc for Breek?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it won't work. I don't care that much about Slick.
You're in love with him.
You're not going to get me in court.
You know, I think you know all about Bennett and Sheriff Todd, don't you?
Yes. But if you expect me to go to court and I just can't live.
Doc Fabrique says you will.
Why, that old fool.
Says you're in love with Slick, and he also says that Bennett owns the Palace Saloon. That Sheriff Todd made a deal with you and some others to collect only half your taxes. Is that the truth?
Well, yes.
Well, Bennett and Todd are leaders of the vigilantes. You think it's right for these men to parade around town with guns and lynching ropes?
No.
Don't think you're going to be safe just by not talking. Bennett will turn on you someday and run you right out of town, just like he's trying to run me out.
And why should I be the one to squeal in court?
Because you're honest. Because you're in love with Slick. Because you hate violence and despise hypocrites.
I'm not that good, Mr. Earp. Or that brave.
I'll see you in court in the morning.
Don't count on it.
You better use this door. No sense of you getting hurt. Oh, and you better go straight back to your place.
No palaver. Bring him out.
I told you men this morning you were a lynch mob. Now, do you want me to start shooting, or do you want to listen to some evidence?
What evidence?
Hank Mahoney was wearing guns last night. Lonigan's buckshot tore off part of his gun belt and carried it into his body. Doc Fabrique recovered a hunk of the gun belt along with 245 cartridges in the autopsy.
The doc's a liar, and so are you.
Now, the rest of you men file by, and I'll show you the evidence.
You're right, Marshal Earp. I'm sorry I listened to Dave.
Mr. McCready? The following men are under arrest. Mr. Brown, Mr. Fisher, Mr. Salter, and Mr. Bennett. Give them your guns. Put them in jail. You men pick up Mr. Bennett. Now, the rest of you men go on home where you belong. Go on.
He stalled on reading your petition about as long as he can. You sure Kate will come?
Well, if she doesn't, we're sunk.
Marshal Earp,
Yes, Your Honor.
you make the charge here that several members of the Citizens Committee are of bad character and are allied with the hoodlum element.
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. Have you any testimony to present bearing on this accusation?
Well, no, sir, not at this time. You see...
Let's see the proof. Where's the witnesses?
Order.
Shut up, Bennett. Throw him out of court, Judge.
Order.
Proceed, Marshal Earp.
I ask the court to realize that it takes time to gather legal proof against illegal vigilantes. I need a temporary court injunction to publicly discredit the...
Marshal, the court has heard enough. You display poor judgment in making slanderous charges against Mr. Bennett and his associates without a single witness.
Mr. Earp has a witness, Your Honor. May I?
Swear in, clerk. Thank you, Miss Kate.
It's a pleasure, Judge.
The court apologizes to Marshal Earp for having doubted his word and wishes to express its gratitude to Miss Kate for having the courage to come here and testify. It is the order of the court that the Citizens Committee here and now disband. Court is adjourned.
Oh, I'm so glad you think so. I was so nervous I didn't think I'd come here in time. Is this official or personal, Mr. Earp?
I'm your bodyguard.
Bennett wouldn't dare do anything now. Oh. Thanks. I'm quite the little heroine now. Even the good folks gave...
Look out!
Why didn't you shoot him?
No need to. I can trace him through this. Probably just a decoy to draw me away from you.
Oh, don't draw away from me.
Don't worry, I won't. I want the word to get around that I'm real fond of you. Or gun anybody that does you any harm.
That ought to get the word around. Oh, I like that.
Miss Kate, break it up, you men. Go on, break it up.
First few months as Marshal of Wichita, Kansas, had done many things, and now he was faced with the recurring problem of the crooked gambling houses and their untiring effort to separate the cowboy from his money.
Reloading cartridges?
Mm-hmm.
City gives you all the factory loads you asked for.
They don't have this new type bullet.
Made of copper?
Copper jacketed.
What's the idea, Marshal?
Well, they're a lot more accurate than the lead kind. They don't smash a man up so bad.
That's the whole idea of a 45. Smash a man up and drop him in his tracks, ain't it?
Well, it's not my idea. All I want to do is discourage him from shooting. And these'll do it.
Mr. Marshal Earp,
Yes, sir?
is it true what they say, that you're a darn Yankee?
Well, who says that?
Mr. Billy Joe Mahundra told me. Billy Joe's in bad trouble. I don't suppose you'd help a Southern boy. Are you poking fun at me?
Mr. Leggett, would you please go check the jail?
Yes, Marshal.
I'd help a Southern boy just as soon as I'd help anybody else, man. Please sit down.
Thank you.
Now, what's your problem?
My name is Miss Melinda Carey, and I work at the Palace on Main Street.
Dave Bennett's saloon, huh? What do you do there?
The boys like me, and when they gamble, they give me part of their winnings for my hope chest.
In other words, you're a shill, huh?
I am not. I'm a hostess. What I want to talk to you about.
Well, let's not discuss it here. We'll go over to my office. Well, let me get this straight. You say that Billy Joe sold $8,500 worth of cattle, and then he lost all of that gambling at the Palace, is that right?
In a crooked game.
And most of that money didn't belong to Billy Joe?
No, sir. Most to his family. Now Billy Joe says he can't go home in such a disgrace. He says he's going to shoot Mr. Dave Bennett for cheating him and then shoot himself.
And you wouldn't want that, would you?
I don't care if he does shoot Mr. Dave Bennett, but us folks take suicide very serious. It's dishonorable. And I am fond of Billy Joe, Mr. Earp.
Well, wasn't it you that shilled Billy Joe into that crooked game?
No, sir. I warned him against it. I don't shield Southern boys.
Just darn Yankees, huh?
Well,
Well, I guess I better talk to him. I'm acquainted with it, Mr. Bennett. And if he's running a crooked gambling place, I guess I should know about it. Now, where can I find Billy Joe?
He's got a room at the Texas Hotel. You better hurry before he...
Now, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Come on.
Who is it?
Wyatt Earp.
You Mr. Billy Joe Omaha?
Yes, sir.
Miss Melinda tells me you had a little money trouble down at the Palace Saloon, and she doesn't think you ought to gun Mr. Bennett.
Why would you care?
Because you might botch up the job and get yourself all hurt.
Just one less Southerner. You'd be mighty pleased.
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Omahandro, you're just about the age of my younger brother Morgan. I don't care whether you're from the north, east, west, or south. But I do care about crooked gamblers cheating young fellas like you out of your money. And I'm not a friend of Mr. Bennett's.
Oh?
Oh, he tried to run me out of town. I had to crack him over the head a couple times.
Good yank. I'm sorry, Mr. Earp. That's mine. I had me some new models like yours, but when Bennett cleaned me out, You don't care. You just came here to make small of me.
Now, look, I don't want to have to fight the Civil War all over again just for you. Now, do you want your money back or don't you?
Yes, sir, I want it back.
All right. Now, you think there might be some Southern gentlemen in the bar downstairs?
I reckon. Yes, sir.
Let's go have a talk with her.
Thank you, Joe. Well, here's our share, Mr. Earp. $960.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for the loan. I'll just mark this money, and then Mr. Omahandro and I will push along over to the Palace Saloon and prove that Mr. Bennett was cheating.
Just one thing worries me, Earp.
I can guess what it is. I'm a Yankee, huh? Will any of you remember who threatened to resign from the United States Army when the carpetbaggers wanted to try Lee and Davis for treason?
Well, Grant and Sherman.
That's right. So, let's have peace, you all.
All right, let's play some cards and hope for the best.
10 on the odd, 5 on 13, and 5 on the red.
All bets down. Let her go. $22 black, even. Mr. Bennett, Mr. Bennett.
It's an old trick. This brake stops the wheel. It's hooked up to a push button on the floor.
What's the trouble, Earp?
You. You want to explain this here or in your office?
Explain? Are you suggesting
I'm not
that I run-
suggesting. I'm telling. Leave it alone. Put it on the table. I want your cash box.
Give it to him. In my office, if you don't mind.
All right. $960, all marked money. All right, Mr. Bennett. I want $8,500 more.
You and the kid frame me.
Now get the money. Excuse me. Billy Joe? Here's your $8,500. Gentlemen, here's the $960 you contributed.
Thank you, sir.
I sure do thank you kindly, Mr. Earp.
May we apologize for saying you favor Yankees?
Thank you, sir. You run back to the hotel. I'll join you in a little while.
Yes, sir, but I...
Go on.
If you need any help?
Well, I think Mr. Bennett's had enough trouble.
I still say you framed me.
don't say it again. I'm giving you a break, Bennett. If I hear any more complaints from this place, I'm going to close it and you're going to leave town. Gentlemen?
Who tipped Earp off? One of the shill girls?
None of them would do that.
Let me see who was shilling the kid. Give me the chip box. What was the name of the southern girl?
Melinda.
The yellow chips belonged to Melinda, and Billy Joe was playing with yellow chips. I'll check on Melinda.
Come in. Hi, mister.
Hi. Heading for home, huh?
Yes. But well, what if Bennett finds out Miss Melinda talked to you?
Well, he won't if you just leave town and don't see her again.
Yes, I know. But it wouldn't be gentlemanly.
Sit down, Mr. Omohundro. Won't you do me a favor? To begin with, are you in love with Miss Melinda?
No, sir. Well, that is, I haven't declared any serious intentions. I'd have to ask my folks.
Do you think your family's going to like the idea of you marrying a girl that works in the saloon and the gambling hall?
No, sir. Don't reckon they would. But I've got to do the right thing, Mr. Earp. I can't hardly just ride out of town if Miss Melinda's in trouble on account of me, now can I?
For her sake, it might be the smartest move to make.
But what will she think of me? My leaving town without even saying bye.
Well, now, why don't you just write her a little note and leave it in the office downstairs, and I'll see that she gets it.
Well, if you think that's the best way to keep her out of trouble.
I do. I hope you have a good ride. And by the way, if you're going to be packing a gun, you better get yourself a new model Colt. The thing's liable to blow up in your hand.
Who is it?
Billy Joe, ma'am.
You shouldn't. It's compromising.
I know, Miss Melinda. But I just couldn't leave town without thanking you personally.
Well, you are very sweet. I was just reading your note. Mr. Earp gave it to me not 10 minutes ago.
Yes, ma'am. I broke a promise. Sure hope you won't tell Mr. Earp I came here.
Of course not. He doesn't understand us folks from the South.
I bought me some new guns, Colt 45s. If you feel you're in any danger, I'll...
Danger? You talk like Mr. Earp. Under no circumstances should you admit to Dave Bennett that you tipped me off. Oh, dear. You men, guns and danger and solemn faces.
How come you're so brave?
Fiddlesticks. Mr. Dave Bennett is a Yankee crook and a coward. Would any Southern man let Mr. Earp pull his roulette table to pieces and call him a cheat in public? I declare, honey, you do try a girl's patience. Talking of gunfighting and doing away with yourself. And... Look what you've done.
Miss Melinda, will you do me the honor of becoming my wife?
No matter what your mama thinks about it?
No matter what anybody thinks.
Well, you are awful sweet, Billy Joe. Still and all, I'm not rushing into an important thing like this.
Yes, you are. I'm riding straight home and tell the family.
Please, Billy Joe. I'll be waiting.
5 days it'll take. That's all.
5 days. is it?
Dave Bennett.
Go away.
It wouldn't sound good if I had to kick this door in.
I'll let you in. Now say what you have to say and get out.
You're fired.
All right.
And don't think you're going to marry this Southern boy. I'll pin a label on you, and it'll cost you a husband.
If you dare to tell him...
You can pack your clothes and move on to Dodge. You're through in Wichita.
I've been hunting a good cadaver to send to the medical school for weeks and weeks, so what do you keep bringing me? Cases like this?
Not serious, huh?
Not a chance he'll make a die of it.
Wyatt. The old quack will let me plead to death if you don't watch him. Oh!
Quack am I?
Hey, take it easy, Doc.
Tin-horn, cold-decking gambler like him, and he's talking about quacks. Hey.
I think he fainted.
Good. Keep his mouth shut. Helps relax the deltoid muscles. Hey, the dang bullet went all the way through and lodged against the left clavicle. We'll have to turn him over on his back. Easy now. No. It bounced off the clavicle and is lodged right under the skin. You see the lump?
You gonna take it out?
I don't know. I ought to leave it in and let the ornery cuss suffer a lot of pain, but I'm a doctor. I never saw one like this. Copper jacketed, ain't it?
Copper jacket. Let me see that.
Gold collared.
You awake? Why don't you faint again?
Wyatt's got a belt full of bullets just like that. Go on, explain it, Earp.
Sure, Bennett, I gunned you.
In the back? Oh, you're kidding.
Very funny. By the time Earp gets through covering his tracks, this town will be full of copper jackets.
No, I don't think so. I've got the only ones like these.
Leave it here. Dave's been trying to get something on you for weeks. I'll plant this thing so deep in his gizzard that I
No,
can...
Doc. But thanks for the offer. Now give me the bullet. You gonna accuse me of gunning you?
Just as soon as I can get to the courtroom.
And now, Marshal Earp. Yes, sir. There's just one point in this affair which we don't seem to have covered. Where were you at about 2 a.m. the night of the shooting?
Well, I was just turning into the alley, making my regular rounds.
And how far were you from the rear of Mr. Bennett's establishment when this shot was fired?
About 40 yards, I'd say.
You didn't see the shot fired or who fired it?
I heard the shot, sir, but I didn't see who fired it. There wasn't anybody in the alley at the time except Mr. Bennett. I saw him stagger and fall, and I ran over to him.
Oh, one moment. Did Mr. Bennett say anything that would lead you to believe he knew who his assailant was?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Bennett has made a grave charge against you, Marshal Earp. The evidence is entirely circumstantial, but the court has no choice but to relieve you of your duties pending a full inquiry. Court is adjourned.
You didn't gun Bennett. The judge knows it. The whole town knows it.
Sure. It looks like the proof is up to me. Well, I'm gonna go up this street. Put that on. You're acting marshal now.
I'll leave it on your desk. Wyatt. It was those Johnny Rebs, wasn't it?
Just one of them.
Do you know his name?
Not so sure it was a he.
Why, it's Mr. Earp.
Leaving town?
No. Just want to have a little talk with Miss Melinda. A private talk.
Tell him you're not talking.
You've got no star. You're just a plain citizen now.
I said in private.
Let's not lose our temper, Mr. Marshal. Wait on the platform, boys.
No. You get far away from me and stay away. Where you heading, Miss Melinda?
Dodge City.
Mr. Bennett ordered you out of town, huh?
You really are mixed up. I decided it wouldn't be healthy here. Nick and Pat came along to guard me in case Mr. Bennett acted difficult about my leaving. Any more personal questions?
Just two. Was it you that gunned Mr. Bennett or Billy Joe?
Oh, what impertinence! I declare.
Because if it was Billy Joe, I've got to go after him. It's going to be a long ride, and I'm not going to be in a good humor when I get there.
You don't scare me.
All right. I know what the truth is now.
But you can't prove it.
Melinda, honey. Mr. Earp.
I thought you left town hours ago.
Yes, sir. But I heard on the trail that you were in trouble because of Mr. Bennett.
Tell him the truth. Mr. Omohandro, I think she's the one that gunned Mr. Bennett.
That's ridiculous. I did it. I'm the one you want.
I don't want either one of you.
Mr. Earp, why are you sore, sir? I can clear your good name. I'll confess and they'll put you back in office.
You go tell the judge that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I will.
Did you really shoot Mr. Dave Bennett, Billy Joe? Well, I'm right proud of you. Why on earth would the marshal think it was me?
Mr. Earp is a Yankee with no respect for a woman's honor.
Don't confess it, Billy Joe. He's not worth it. Get on your horse and ride away.
No, honey. Us folks pays our debts of money or gratitude.
You are awful sweet.
Judge, Your Honor, Squire, Sire, I was so plumb provoked at that fella, Judge. Well, I reckon I just lost my head. One point, though, I did ask Mr. Bennett to turn around and shoot it out fair and square, but he kept on running and I shot him.
I see. Mr. Leggett, did you send for Marshal Earp?
Yes, Your Honor. About 15 minutes ago. He should be here any second.
Mr. Omohandro.
Yes, sir?
How old are you?
21 years, 3 months, and 8 days, sir.
Assault with a deadly weapon and intent to kill. Of course, you did own up to it, and... Oh, Marshal Earp. This young man has made a full confession. That clears you, and the court here and now removes you from suspension.
There's your badge, Marshal.
Well, I'm sorry, Judge, but I don't think Billy Joe did it.
How's that?
No, sir. I think he's lying to protect a girl.
Mr. Earp, I must ask you to be a gentleman and...
You can't come in here,
I
ma'am.
can, too, come in here. I'm not scared of Yankee judges and marshals. You take your hands off me.
Leave her go, Sam.
I thank you kindly, Mr. Marshal Earp.
Melinda, what on earth
Hush up, Billy Joe. You the judge? Yes. I did it. This is the weapon I used, and I'm not letting this sweet boy suffer for something I did. It's still got the empty shell and 2 of Mr. Earp's gold-colored bullets. I stole them from this desk yesterday because I didn't have any. A lady can't properly buy cartridges.
Melinda, please.
Order.
Don't.
These belong to you?
Yeah.
I'm coming back to Wichita and marry Melinda.
You mean after she's free?
While down south, a judge wouldn't even sentence her.
Well, I don't think our judge is going to be too tough on her.
Why not?
Well, because it just so happens that Judge Jewett's wife is from Charleston, South Carolina.
No fooling? Please, sir, tell Mrs. Jewett that I forgive her for marrying a Yankee. That's the proof of it. The good Lord, he loves the South. So long, Mr. Earp.
So long, Billy Joe.
Out of town, he overlooked one dangerous fact. Clements, a notorious killer in his own right, was first cousin to John Wesley Hardin. In the West of 1875, Hardin was known as the deadliest gunslinger of them all. And Wes Hardin was now on his way to Wichita.
Well, there's Wichita, hon. Right around that bend.
Do we have to go to Wichita?
Got to sell the horses.
That's not the only reason. You listen to Manning Clements.
Well, he's kinfolk, hon.
Stupid, ignorant yahoo. Why don't you let him settle his own quarrel?
Because Wyatt Earp's too smart for him. But he ain't too smart for me.
More trouble. Oh, why, Wes? We're out of Texas. The law's not after you here. Why don't we just push on to Nebraska and get clean away?
Because I owe it to Manning.
Oh.
I do owe him, hon. Manning, Joe, Jip, the whole Clements branch of the family helped me in that Sutton-Taylor fight.
I hate and despise the Clementses.
No man gonna tell no kin of mine to get out of no town. So you just let me handle this my own way, Janie. Manning asked me to do a chore for him. And I'm going to do it.
Gunning Wyatt Earp. That's a chore.
Might be real pleasant. Get up. Come on.
Why weren't you down at the rail yards?
Lucky I wasn't.
Change that Snake River outfit real quick. Extra deputy would have made it easier.
Then who'd have seen John Wesley Hardin come into town?
Hardin?
Yep. Him and his wife. They came in with a string of trade horses. Put up at the Texas Hotel. Sassy as you please.
Oh.
Wes is first cousin to Manning Clements, you know.
Yeah.
If I was you, Mr. Earp, I'd get the jump on him fast.
Don't have any warrant for Hardin.
There's plenty of warrants for him down south. And about 10,000 in rewards.
You want scalp money, son?
I could use some. But mainly I'm thinking of you and Wes in a tangle.
I know that. Well, Hardin might not be aiming to pick up Clemens' quarrel. It's been running a long time. Could be he's tired of it. Well, there's only one way of finding out.
How's that?
I'll go ask him.
Hello, Mr. Earp.
Hi, Ben. John Wesley Hardin registered?
Yep. His wife went up to their room. He's in the bar.
You check his guns?
Right nice about it. No argument.
Thanks, man.
And there was Wild Bill Hickok, all duded up for the women and ready to make a big show-off play. He stepped up to me and he said, Mr. Hardin, I must ask you for your guns.
Well, what'd you do, Wes?
Well,
Why, Mr. Earp.
Well, don't let me interrupt, Mr. Hardin.
You Wyatt Earp? Well, you ain't much older than I am.
Well, you're quite an old man from experience, Mr. Hardin.
I sure am. I ought to be gray-headed by now, Mr. Earp.
Wes, tell us what happened when Hickok asked you to hand over your guns.
Well, it wasn't much. Just a little trick I invented. Would you like to see it, Mr. Earp?
Now, Mr. Hardin, I'm always interested in new gun tricks.
Well, I have to get my guns.
Well, don't bother. You can use one of mine. I've seen a few accidents, fellas, doing tricks with loaded guns.
Seen a few myself. Hey, that's a right good gun. Good balance. Hey, you must have had a good gunsmith work over that sear.
Did it myself.
No fooling. That's right, slick. I experiment around with guns myself.
So I hear.
Hey, Wes, you said you'd show us.
Yeah. Well, Hickok was Marshal of Abilene at the time, Mr. Earp. He asked me to turn over my guns to him, so I handed them to him. Grips first. And then I...
The road agent spin, huh?
Well, that's what they call it now. It's really the Hardin spin.
That's the fastest I've ever seen it done.
Well, he's John Wesley Hardin. Show us another trick, Wes.
Here's one I bet you ain't never seen before.
That's real magic stuff, Wes.
You ever seen that one before, Mr. Earp?
No, I haven't, but I imagine it comes in mighty handy for you, Mr. Hardin.
That's called the Hardin switch. Them Rangers copied it. They call it the border switch. Man who pioneers never gets the credit.
That's very often true.
You do any gun tricks, Mr. Earp?
No, Mr. Hardin. I just draw when I have to and shoot.
Why don't you and Wes draw against each other? See which is the fastest, huh? Oh, come on.
Well, that wouldn't be much of a contest.
Oh, I don't know about that, Mr. Earp. My cousin, Manning Clemens, tells me you're pretty quick, too.
Well, Manning wouldn't know. He never drew against me.
I don't take a bluff like Manning does.
Well, you're a lot smarter than he is.
He is pretty stupid, ain't he? He got scared by his name on a grave.
Oh, no, I heard about it.
And speaking of tricks, Mr. Earp, that was a right good one. How about let's have a drink on it?
Well, no, thanks. I don't care too much for that stuff, but I'm very happy to meet you, Mr. Hardin.
Well, same here, Mr. Earp.
I'll see you around.
Hey, bartender, set 'em up for everybody.
Give me a bourbon. Myself. Hardin, you're a dirty liar.
What did you say?
I'm a friend of Parrot Beak, and nobody calls him Parrot Beak and lives but his friends. James Butler Hickok, that's his name. The world's fastest gunman. And you never ran it over him in Abilene or any other place. You're just a no-good, dirty liar. And I'm gonna...
He dead?
Yes, sure is.
Well, how'd you guess?
You didn't invent the shoulder rig, Mr. Hardin. It's used by gamblers on the Mississippi steamboats.
Oh, not this rig. That spring clip holds it. That's my own idea.
Well, I'll see if the judge will give you a patent.
Judge, are you arresting me?
That's right.
Well, that was a clear case of self-defense. All these men will testify he drew on me first.
That's right, Mr. Earp. This man had a gun in his hand when Wes drew and fired.
I'm not too sure about that. To jail, Mr. Hardin.
Well, just when I was commencing to feel sorry for you.
Wes! Wes, what have you done?
Well, nothing to worry about, hon. I had to shoot a man, that's all.
No. Are you Mr. Earp?
That's right, ma'am.
Why, not for a minute, Wes. It was self-defense, wasn't it?
Why, sure.
I'll have to let the judge decide that.
Can I go with him?
No, you stay right here, hon. This won't take 30 minutes. Oh, now don't fret yourself, hon. They can't hold me.
Judge, the man he killed, Mr. Atwell, had been drinking by himself for several hours. Well, it just doesn't seem logical to me that after seeing Hardin here do his tricks, he'd want to draw on him.
He talks like a lawyer, don't he?
Sure does.
Order. Marshal Earp, these men have testified that the deceased did draw a gun. And you have said that when you found Mr. Atwell, he had a gun in his hand when he was lying on the floor.
That's true, Your Honor, but Hardin or anybody else here could have put that gun in his hand after he was shot.
That is only your theory, Earp.
Yeah. Where's your proof?
Order. For lack of evidence to the contrary, the court must rule that you shot in self-defense. But I'm fining you $100 for carrying this gun in violation of our city ordinance.
Fair enough.
Your Honor, I think this man ought to be in jail. I'm not satisfied it was self-defense, and I'd like to work on the case.
You mean you'd like to enjoy life for a few days?
Are you threatening Mr. Earp?
Oh, no, sir. Nothing like that.
Your Honor, I withdraw my objection. Find him and turn him loose.
Very well. But I'd advise him to leave town.
50 and 50. Are you telling me to leave, Judge?
No, I'm suggesting, Mr. Hardin. And you might be grateful to me someday.
I ain't shown Earp the real trick yet.
He is threatening you.
Yes, sir, he is.
Then go and get him. I'll send him to jail for 30 days.
I don't think it would be a good idea to put Hardin in jail, sir. Word to get around that I was scared of him.
Well, we can hold him for the Texas officers.
Well, that wouldn't be good, sir, because then they'd say I was after the reward money.
Hang it all, Earp. The man is one of the worst killers in the Southwest. You'd be smart to get this man out of town.
Well, Judge, there are two things a marshal can't do. One of them is you can't show fear for any gunslinger, and the other is you can't trade in a man's life for reward money. Besides, Hardin's got me curious. I'd like to find out what that trick is he has up his sleeve. Good day, sir.
Sorry I'm late, hon.
You said 30 minutes.
All that wild Earp tried to hang me on a murder charge. Then he asked the judge to put me in jail for carrying Sweet Betsy. I ought to gun him for that, if for nothing else.
Isn't one man enough for you in this town?
I had to drop Atwell. He was reaching.
You don't have to gun Earp.
No. Not tonight.
Not any time. Look, Wes, I didn't unpack. Let's get out of here now. Oh, please.
You can go if you want. Just hitch up the team and go.
You've said that to me quite a few times lately.
I say it again. You're too good for me, Janie. You never should have married me or stuck with me the way you have. I tried to quit this kind of life. We ran to Alabama, we ran to Florida. We took up horse trading. Well, we even changed our names.
It's done. It was my decision. I love you.
One thing always happened. Some fellow with a tin star found me out. Got greedy for the rewards. Well, now it's Earp. He's young and he's smart. Awful smart. He's a big hero in Wichita. Killing me would...
Don't say that.
I say killing me would be a big thing to Earp. Oh, no. He ain't gonna let me get out of town without a fight. You can bet on that.
No, Wes. You don't want to leave. If I can get him to let us go, will you? I'll go right now. I'll talk to him. He didn't look so mean or terrible to me. I'll go right now. Where'll I find him?
Oh, you'll find him somewhere downtown, not too far from the hotel. He'll be keeping his eye out for me.
I'll ask people. You'll see, Wes. He'll listen to me. You won't leave. You'll be here when I get back.
Think you can fix it?
Of course I can. How soon, Mr. Earp?
Well, just as soon as you can. It's my good coat, you know.
For you, I mend it right away. It was good I was working tonight, huh?
Thanks. Oh, good evening, Mrs. Harden.
Good evening. Where can we talk?
Well, we can...
You talk right here. I go to my workroom in the back.
Sit down, Mrs. Harden.
Thank you. Wes thinks you won't let him leave town. Is that so?
There's nothing to stop Mr. Harden from leaving town if he wants to.
Oh, he does want to. Why do you say if?
Man and Clemens talked your husband into coming here to gun me because I drove him out of town.
But Wes has changed his mind. All he wants now is to leave town before there's any more trouble.
He's not going to show me the big trick, huh?
Trick? I don't know what you mean.
Well, it's some kind of new gun trick he's invented, Mrs. Harden. But if Wes has really changed his mind, it suits me fine.
Oh, he has changed. He gave me his word. This is the only real chance I've ever had to clear Wes and me. We aim to go to Nebraska, change our names and start in a respectable business.
Well, is that your idea or his?
Both of us.
Mrs. Harden, I think your husband has a trick up his sleeve to using a gunfight with me, and I think he gave his word to Clemens. And that's stronger than any promise he's made to you.
No, you're wrong.
All right. All Wes has to do to prove it is leave town.
You won't try to stop him? Or fight him or ambush him with deputies?
You'll have no trouble unless he asks for it.
I believe you. Thank you very much, Mr. Earp.
Not at all, Mrs. Harden.
In a second, hon.
We can leave. I told you. I told you Mr. Earp's not after you.
Oh.
Oh, he wasn't stringing me. I could tell by the way he talked. Oh, we're out of it, Wes, out of it. Let's leave now. Tonight, this very minute. I'll help you hitch up the team and...
Well,
Wes, what's the matter?
not tonight, hon.
Why not? Tell me why not.
Well, it's just common sense, hon. Now, Earp may be telling the truth, but well, he's got his deputies. I ain't gonna risk getting us bushwhacked in the dark.
No, I guess it is more sensible to wait for daylight. But you will leave.
Well, I promised you, didn't I?
Of course you did. I'm sorry. Just kind of twitchy nerves, I guess.
Where'd you find Earp?
He was in a tailor shop down the street having a coat mended. Very decent man, I thought. That gun.
Oh, you want me to keep it hid? Close it up good and neat. That's my Janie. Real neat.
Keep one more promise.
Huh?
Don't drink in the bar tonight. Stay here with me. And we can get some sleep and an early start. Is that such a difficult promise?
Oh, that's a real easy one.
Oh, good morning.
I'm a little late. I don't sleep so good. No great rush. I just want to buy a coat. Oh, yes, sir. Tailored or ready-made? Right off the rack, friend. Oh, I got some nice coats that will fit you. First, we get a little light in here, and then... Never mind light. What you say? I'm Hardin. John Wesley Hardin. You are Hardin? All right, shut up. You just be quiet and listen to me. You go out and find Wyatt Earp. Tell him to come here. If he's got the nerve. I won't wait long. If he don't come, I'll go after him. While I'm waiting, I'll pick out a coat. To be buried in?
Pardon me. Have you seen Mr. Hardin?
Why, yes, a little while ago. I think he went out back to hit your team, Mrs. Hardin.
Thank you. Where? Where?
Tommy, what's up?
Oh, Mr. Earp, Hardin. He is waiting for you in my shop to make gunfire. Oh, excuse me. I hurried too fast.
Any idea why he wants it there?
No. Yes. Oh, I am so stupid. He had a bundle. Must be his guns. And first he said he wanted to buy a coat.
A coat? What was he wearing?
Trail jacket. Short. About like this.
Maybe he wanted a longer coat to cover his guns.
Oh, I don't know, Mr. Earp. I don't know. Maybe the gun shoots from the bundle. It's a trick, like you say. Oh, I talk smart. I say maybe he will be buried in the coat. But maybe it is you who will be. I am afraid. Please don't go there. Send your deputies to surround my shop. They will kill him.
The law can't do that, Tommy. Look, have you got your keys to the back door?
Keys? Yeah, yes, I have the keys here. Hardin, I'm coming in.
All right, Earp. Come ahead. I got no guns, Earp.
Your wife said you wanted to leave town. Stupid trick. Get it on a swivel.
Too slow, huh?
No, he was too inaccurate. He got off the first shot, but he missed. Put your hands on the table.
Oh. You break his wrists, huh?
Good. I didn't break anything. But he won't be able to use his hands for a couple of weeks.
Wes! Oh, Wes! Where was he hit? How bad is he hurt?
He's not hurt much.
Oh, thank God.
He's got a sore head and sprained fingers.
You should thank God that Mr. Earp didn't kill him dead.
When he comes to, you better load him on your wagon and drive out of Wichita.
Yes, Mr. Earp.
Good day, Mrs. Hardin.
Good day.
One of the high spots of Wyatt Earp's career as Marshal of Wichita, Kansas, was his conflict with Shanghai Pierce. Abel H. Pierce was a New England ship owner turned Texas cattle baron. In 1875, Pierce was probably the richest and most influential, and certainly the most vivid character in all the Western country. Shortly before he tangled with Wyatt Earp, old Shanghai was guest of honor at a remarkable ceremony.
Go ahead, take it off.
Yeah, boys, that's me. Shanghai Pierce to the line. $10,000 that cost me. I'm handsomer, naturally. Not another man in the South that have nerve enough to put a statue up to his own self. Hundreds of them think they deserve it, but they're waiting on the judgment of posterity. Me, I say let posterity go hang. A.H. Pierce, standing there in bronze on his own ranch. Cover me up, boys. The official ceremony takes place when the cattle drive to Kansas is over.
Oh, Mr. Pierce, please, sir.
What's them things, Davy?
Telegrams congratulating you.
I forgot my glasses. Here, you read them.
Dear Mr. Pierce, I know of no living Texan more worthy of a statue than you are. Kindest regards, R.B. Hubbard, Governor.
Hubbard gets my support next time.
Dear Shanghai, I think it's wonderful about the statue. William Buffalo Bill Brooks, Marshal of Dodge City.
Good old Bill.
And here's one from Luke Short, Marshal of Abilene. There isn't a man of my acquaintance more deserving of a statue.
Hey, who's that one from?
Oh, Wyatt Earp, the new Marshal of Wichita. But listen to what Wild Bill Hickok wires you from...
Earp? Well, we're heading for Wichita. What did you say?
Well, friends of yours here have asked me to comment on the statue you have erected. I suppose they want a tribute to your character from me. I am informed that last season you and your men raised more trouble in Wichita than any 5 outfits from other ranches. This is to warn you in a friendly way that we expect better behavior from you this season. W. Earp, Marshal. Don't worry about Earp, Mr. Pierce. We'll take care of him.
We'll take care of Earp.
Don't worry about
You bet we'll take care of him.
No, boys, no. That ain't the way I'm going to handle Earp. I'm going to handle him just like I did Hickok and Buffalo Bill.
Buy him off, Mr. Pierce?
Key wrecked. Never met a man yet that didn't have his price. Tie that cover down tight on my statue, boys. Then get on your horses and head my cattle north. We're on our way to Wichita. Hooray!
Oh, good morning, Mr. Murdoch.
Oh, hi. Why all the iron?
Oh, we're preparing a reception committee for Shanghai Pierce. We're saying howdy with lead this year.
Oh, no. Just got a telegram from Shanghai.
Yeah?
He promises to be a good boy. I'll have a talk with Mr. Earp. You fellas take it easy.
Okay.
Howdy.
I hear you're planning a reception.
Yeah. Got guns stashed in places along Douglas Avenue and down Main Street. I'm going to take Mr. Pierce as soon as he shows in town.
Oh, now, Wyatt. Read this. Shanghai says, no trouble.
Oh? What changed his mind?
The statue, I think. Man puts up a statue to himself. He must be anxious about his reputation. I've given him a big spread here on page 1. No matter what you think of him, there's nobody else like him.
Yeah.
Now, Shanghai's not a bad character. Generous, fabulously wealthy. I think you'll like him, Wyatt.
Well, whatever you say goes, Mr. Murdoch. If Mr. Pierce wants to behave himself, well, that's wonderful.
Shanghai Pierce outfit is this town's biggest customer. He has at least 300 cowhands on his payroll, and at least that many more pickup drivers. He's throwing a big party when he hits town tonight.
Sounds like a big operator.
From here to Shanghai, China. That's his brag. He made a fortune in the China clipper trade before he left Boston.
Excuse me. Expressman left this barrel, Mr. Earp. Said it was a present for you.
A present?
Uh-huh.
Well, let's have a look. Can't be bribe money.
Compliments to Mr. Shanghai Pierce.
Oh, champagne. Imported.
Well, thank you, Mr. Pierce.
Yeah, there must be a whole dozen here.
Oh, there's 2 cases at least.
Yeah.
How's this for a peace offering?
It's right handsome. I hate to look a gift horse in the mouth, but what'll I do with it?
Wyatt, Don't you even drink champagne?
It's too bubbly, makes my nose itch. I give it to Mayor Hope.
And Mr. Murdoch?
All right.
Thanks. This doesn't mean any more to Shanghai than if another man were to offer you a cigar.
Well, perfume. Boy from the Wichita Hotel sent it over.
Well, this must be my day. It's from a woman that says she's in serious trouble and would like police protection. Know anybody by the name of Alice Kennedy?
Do I? Alice Kennedy's an actress. The loveliest one that ever played Wichita.
Oh? You better go down and talk to her.
No,
Yes,
hold
sir.
her. Miss Kennedy's too an important actress to our theater out here. She doesn't write mash notes, not even to the handsome Marshal Earp. You better go see her yourself.
All right, but there's something odd about that. There's no theatrical company playing here in town. Why would an important actress be here?
Well, will you go and find out? Maybe it's a story.
I'll let you know. I just know you're going to take good care of that champagne. I still think Shanghai Pierce is up to some kind of a trick.
Yes, it's over 2 cases there.
Yeah, howdy, Mr. Saunders. Understand you got a Miss Kennedy here.
Yeah, she's waiting for you in the ladies' parlor, Mr. Herb.
Thank you.
Mr. Erb?
Yes. I got your note, Miss Kennedy. What kind of trouble are you in?
Well, I don't need police protection. That was just a fib to get you here. But I am in trouble, and I hope you'll allow me to explain a rather odd situation.
Well, I have the normal amount of curiosity.
Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
You're much different from what I expected.
So are you?
Oh? How's that?
Well, you're quite a lady.
Oh. But what I've agreed to do isn't at all ladylike. Well, I don't know how to put this delicately. Mr. Earp, will you escort me to a party tonight?
Shanghai Pierce's party?
Yes.
How do you rope you into that?
My show stranded in St. Louis. He gave me $5,000. It bailed us all out.
That was kind of him.
It really was. Oh, there weren't any strings attached to the gift. I haven't even met him. He sent the money to my hotel, and when we all went down to thank him, he had left town.
You just happened to be here in Wichita?
No. No, I was in St. Louis at the Planters Hotel. He sent me a letter with $1,000.
And what are you supposed to do for that?
Come here to Wichita, invite you to the party, and that's all. I know it sounds silly.
Yes, it does. But I believe you, Miss Kennedy. You know, you don't have to be beholden to a man like Mr. Pierce.
Well, you see, Mr. Erb, I have a good play in manuscript, and I haven't any money. Mr. Pierce said he might lend it to me or back the play himself.
Well, that's very honest, Miss Kennedy. You didn't have to tell me the truth. You know, any man would be right proud to take you to that party tonight. No questions asked.
Then you'll take me?
I'm just the city marshal here of Wichita, and that just isn't reason enough for Mr. Pierce to be playing up to me the way he has.
Well, he's a man of generous whims. Maybe it's just his way of trying to make friends with you. I took the trouble of inquiring about Wyatt Earp. I think Mr. Pierce wants to brag to his friends that he knows you and that you're a friend of his.
Well, aren't you worried about what other plans he might have?
Other plans?
For you?
Oh, I'm not afraid of Mr. Pierce.
You should be. He's got a lot of rough men behind him. Men that'll do anything he says. He's rich enough that he thinks he can buy his way out of any trouble, including trouble with the law. Oh, I think you ought to be afraid of him.
Well, what can I do? I'm here. I've made the gamble.
Miss Kennedy. It's all right. We'll go to Shanghai's party.
Thank you, Mr. Erb. Now I'm scared again. What will Mr. Pierce expect of me?
Well, I think he probably expects you to have me tied to your chariot wheels by this time.
Oh. Well, would you pretend a little?
You know, I've been thinking about it.
Oh, this will be a good one tonight. Come on, everybody, sit down, sit down. Maylene, take the ladies' hands. Now, eat up, drink up. You don't see it, ask for it. Your money's no good tonight. This party's on A.H. Pierce. From here to Shanghai, that's me. I'm more full of wind than a Yankee Clipper sail. And I got a copper bottom that's dragged 1,000 miles over the Chisholm Trail, but I ain't never sprung a leak yet. Oh, excuse me. Well, well, sweet Alice Benbow, the pride and the toast of the Mississippi.
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Pierce. Mr. Wyatt Earp, Mr. Shanghai Pierce.
Howdy, Mr. Pierce.
Why, you're just a young sprout. Well, isn't that one for the history books? You sending me a sassy telegram.
I didn't mean to make it sassy, sir.
Oh, forget it, son. I like a young man with grit and gumption. Shake, no hard feelings. Hey, you've got a grip like a longhorn's bite. He never tried to squeeze you, did he, Miss Alice?
Oh, no.
And a gentleman, too, huh? But, son, a man who don't recognize and respect a lady ain't no man at all. Miss Alice, you and I better consult about that theater business while I'm still sober. Excuse us, son. I won't keep her long. You know, I'm young enough to take a dare, but I'm much too old to make good on it. Folks, I want you to meet the star of the showboats, Miss Alice Kennedy, and my good friend, Wyatt Earp. Now, entertain him, everybody. We'll see you in a minute. Miss Alice. It's mighty good of you to come so far, Miss Alice. But I was betting you wouldn't stand up old Shanghai.
Of course not, Mr. Pierce.
Sit down.
Thank you.
I bet you're wondering why I go to so much bother about young Earp.
Well, yes, I have, a little.
He's in my way. I come up here from Texas, I want to see Wichita wide open like it used to be. I hope I ain't shocked you.
Oh, no, not at all, Mr. Pierce.
Well, that's a big relief. Because when you read about Shanghai in history, I don't want you believing all them mean little things they'll put in them books.
Well, you've been very kind to me.
I'm trying to be kind to that boy. I sent him some champagne. I arranged for him to meet you.
No good. I don't think that wine and women are his weakness.
You sure?
Oh, he'd make love to me, but he wouldn't do what I told him. Why, he's as strong-willed as you. Have you ever done what a woman told you?
I sure never did. And now there's got to be some way to get to Earp without just killing him.
Mr. Pierce, I like that man.
What's
the
answer?
Well, this, maybe. I know he likes card games. Oh, I feel pretty rotten telling you this, but the clerk at my hotel told me he's the best man in an honest game of poker he's ever seen.
That's it. Gambling can be a worser passion than wine or women. You are worth your weight in gold. But I may still need you, so you stay friends with her.
Well, I will, if you promise me that you won't.
You got a better guarantee than that. I bragged to my boys that I'd bring Earp into camp. Of course, if his price means a shooting match, well, but it won't be. Gambling.
I don't really understand, Mr. Pierce. Usually when a man sets out to buy the law, he's a little more cunning about it.
Rich men like him don't bother to be subtle. Do you have a price, Mr. Earp?
Well, I don't know. I've never really thought about it till today.
I hope your price isn't a shooting match. Is that your price?
Hey there, you two. Is that being good guests at my party?
I'm sorry, sir. We were just sitting...
No, forget it, son. It's time for a poker game. You play?
Yes, sir, I do, but I don't think it would be too exciting for Miss Alice.
Oh, that's all right. I had a rough trip from St. Louis, and if you don't mind, I'll be excused.
I'll walk you back to your hotel. You gentlemen go ahead with the poker game. I'll join you shortly.
Take your time, son. Just take your time.
I had a lovely evening, and thank you for inviting me, Mr. Pierce.
Pleasure's all mine, Miss Alice. Don't forget you're dining with me tomorrow, about 1 o'clock.
I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Good night.
Good night. I'll see you later, Wyatt. Yes.
You've made it a very nice evening.
Well, thank you, Miss Alice. You're mighty fine company to be with. Say, do you happen to know whether Shanghai plays an honest game of poker?
With all his money, why should he cheat?
I'd sure like to give him a beating.
Is that gambler's fever, or is it just that you don't like him?
I'd just like to win enough for you so you wouldn't have to depend on him.
You're very sweet. But I'm not in this for money now.
Oh? Well, then why do you stay here? And why do you have to meet with him tomorrow?
Because I'm scared of something. Be careful, Wyatt.
I'm betting you 50, son.
Well, I'll see that and raise you 50.
I fold. How about an extra 100 in the showdown?
That's not the game, Shanghai. We agreed on a 100 limit on any one pot.
All right. Lay 'em down.
Flush.
Full house.
Running kind of low.
Don't you be worrying about him, Brother Parkins. His IOUs are just as good as gold with me.
Well, thanks, but I'm not quite cleaned out yet.
You stand up good to a run of bad luck, son. Ante up.
That's your deal. I just can't seem to do any good.
That's a good-sized pot.
Oh, that's it for me.
Oh, you ain't quitting, son.
Just till the bank opens, Mr. Pierce. Get enough to pay off these IOUs and pick up a stake to have another go at it.
Ah, what's money, son? Stay here with me. I enjoy your company.
It's daylight. I've had enough. How about you? We'll catch a nap and a little breakfast, Shanghai. Then we'll be back to give Wyatt a chance to get healthy.
I never saw a string of cards played better, son.
Well, thank you, but I hope my luck will change. At least it better. I'll see you after breakfast.
Now, wait a minute. Sit down. You know, son, I was aiming to persuade you that this town should be open wide again. Now I realize you wouldn't do that.
I couldn't keep my job. The mayor would just fire me and get himself another marshal.
All right. Then forget this two-bit job. Throw in with me.
Doing what?
I bought this place. The whole shebang.
You what?
I bought this place last night, and I need a partner. And I'll sell you a half interest, and you can pay me out of the profits. You like card games, son? You'd keep 'em honest.
It's mighty tempting, Mr. Pierce.
All right, then I'll just sign my name.
Well, hold on a second.
Huh?
Well, sir, I may be kind of stupid, but I just don't get all of this. First you send me that champagne, and then Miss Alice, and now you offer me a half interest in this place. Why? It just can't be that important to you whether or not Wichita is run wide open. You're only here 3 weeks out of the whole season. Even if you did get me to quit my job, Mayor Hope and Mr. Murdoch are committed to a decent policy. You don't buy all of Wichita when you buy me. It just doesn't make sense.
Now, you have a price, sir. Every man has a price.
Well, Mr. Pierce, don't tell me that you went to all that trouble and rigmarole just to prove that every man can be bought and has his price.
Correct.
Sir, I don't believe that. You got too much sense and ability.
I came here to buy you. I bragged to my boys. Now, don't you be thinking that if you quit this job, Hope and Murdoch would be able to get a marshal as good as you. I would have been able to handle the average John Law. Son, I've offered you an interest in a good gambling place. I guess I'm getting stupid and stingy in my old age. And I'm kind of a lonesome maverick, too.
Well, you got a lot of friends, Mr. Pierce.
Friends? Sure. But I need a partner. All right, son. I'm asking you to throw in with me on the whole shebang, from here to Shanghai. It's worth a fortune, and I'll give you a partnership.
Well, that's right answer, Mr. Pierce. I always did like the cattle business.
Then it's a deal?
No, sir.
Son, you don't understand. I'm offering... I got no one else, no family. Are you deaf? I'm giving you a half interest in the whole shebang. I'm all alone.
That's I don't think we'd get along, sir.
Oh, son, now I
Sir,
thought
it's still
you...
a price. That's a good price, and I thank you, but I couldn't throw in with you or anybody else with a price tag on me. Good day, Mr. Pierce.
Why, you young fool! You ungrateful! Shanghai! Shanghai! Where's my boys? Shanghai! Shanghai! Shanghai!
Wake up, boss!
Hello! Bring me my gun, and all of you get your guns. We're gonna hoorah this town! I'll show that young squirt.
Wyatt,
Miss Alice,
what is it? What's all the noise about?
I had a little disagreement with Mr. Pierce. He's going to shoot up the town, so I guess I'm going to have to throw him in jail till he cools off a bit.
Oh, are they coming after you?
Sounds like it. Miss Alice, I got just about enough money in the bank for you to pay off Shanghai and produce your own play. I wish you'd take it.
Thank you. No. I'll pay him back. The show can wait. Besides, I'd still owe you.
Yeah, well, the difference in owing me is that I wouldn't put any price tags on you. Now, don't worry.
Wyatt, don't go.
You stay here.
I'm Shanghai Pierce, and I'm not taking any more of your insults, Herb. You can't hide all day, and I'm going to sit right here till you come out.
Sorry to have to do that, Mr. Pierce.
Hold it! Don't fire, you'll hit Shanghai.
You men stand back. We're heading for jail.
We ain't putting up with this, Shanghai. Oh, shut up. I can handle this. It's a good thing I like you, son. Everybody's going to jail. Come on. Nobody can lick Shanghai Pierce, boy. Whenever he makes up his mind to do something, he does it.
Yes, sir.
No, sir. Shanghai never takes no for an answer.
Yes, sir.
Is that your jail?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's a poor excuse for a jail. I'll come up here one of these days and build you one you'll be proud of.
We'd like that, sir.
Well, it'll be a pleasure.
Well, it's too bad, but I couldn't put a price tag on him.
Price tag? I don't understand, Miss Alice.
Oh. Well, it's a long story, but the end of it is he'll never be the husband of an actress.
Well, he cleaned up the country, the old Wild West country. He made law and order prevail. And none can deny it, the legend of Wyatt forever will live on the trail. Oh, Wyatt Earp, Wyatt